oh my God, what was the vampire movie? The with Aaliyah?
Oh, I have no idea.
Mm.
Walking in the shadows.
What was oh my God.
Oh, yeah, we are live. Welcome to Walking in the Shadows with Cryptid Women's Society. I'm your co-host, Lisa, the Gothic version of vampire.
And I am pale version, very, very pale today.
We're not quite sure what's going on here, but apparently
Yeah, we kind of thought about this at the last minute, so
well, we try,
we
and
tried. We did try. We
at the
were
end of the
like,
day, you have to just be happy at the fact that we're online. Okay, it's a big.
that we made it, all right? Just be happy, guys.
For anyone that's just listening to us, Juliet is super, super pale. Think Twilight, glittery pale, and
Oh, I
I
would
look,
cover myself in glitter, but I fucking hate that shit.
yeah,
Sorry, YouTube.
full stop wearing. And also, I'm kind of like looking like I want to go and waste a lichen. So it's kind
A
of
little bit more like Morticia.
I have. Do you know what? I actually did watch the second season of Wednesday the other day.
I haven't
I watched
watched it yet.
like the 4 episodes or whatever they've released. Interesting. They bring a zombie into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. I haven't watched it yet. I have not
Yeah,
had the chance to watch it yet.
I'm not sure how I feel about it because you look, like our generation, we grew up with the Addams family, right?
I am an Adams. There we go.
Exactly.
Imagine
Julian
the shit
Adams.
I got at school.
Yeah, 100%, right? And we grew up with the Addams family and the TV show and the movie and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure how far off topic I feel happy with. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
And now the kids can't watch it. It's like too violent. Like we watched the first episode, well, some of the first episode, and just went, there's no way the kids are watching it this season. So
No,
it was
not with and not with the zombie stuff because man, that's pretty full on.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's
Which
right.
is sad. But they don't have any vampires yet, do they? They haven't brought in a vampire yet, eh?
Uncle Fester's in there, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's not a vampire. He's just a
Not a
weird little.
vampire. He's just a weird little
He
weird little
reminds
dude.
you.
Oh my God, Uncle Fester is short but he has no hair, but that's okay. That could be a connection to our story today. I know who Uncle Fester is. No, I don't. That's fine.
I
Oh,
do. My favorite guy from the Adams family is the I can't remember what his name is, but he's like just full of hair. He's like just covered.
oh yeah, cousin it.
Cousin it, yeah, and he's
Cousin
like
it. And then there's Lurch.
yeah. That's my happy place. I'm like, oh my God, I'm cousin it. And when I was younger, I had such thick hair, like incredible, long, thick, dark hair. And I could do
Yeah.
cousin it like no one's business. I was pretty
Yeah, yeah. Remember when we were at the show, what was the bloody theatre show that we did? And I had like the pigtails and they
oh,
literally came out, went down, and my hair like was literally at my waist.
we did a Midsummer's Night's Dream
Midsummer's Night
at
Dream.
drama school.
Was that
Yeah.
when was that when I said, oh, I'm not sure if that's when I had the pigtails. No, that was a
Yeah. 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 You had pigtails and they were really super, super long and they hung right.
long. Yeah. So even when they came out and came down, they were literally at my waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of getting that way now.
Yeah, it's just too hard when you get older, and I can understand why women all cut off all of their hair, but we're never going to turn into soccer mum space. So,
I would say something else, but I will probably get banned off YouTube.
hey, so today we were meant to be joined by the beautiful Raven Lee,
Yeah.
the Dark Huntress, if you're on Instagram with her. She was going to come and jump on here and help us out with the vampires. Unfortunately, she's been called away, so we definitely will get her back on either onto Walking in the Shadows on YouTube, or we may do like a full-blown interview for our members in Cryptid Women's Society. So yeah, kind of got her booked in. She was like super, super apologetic. Sometimes life just gets in the way, especially when you've got kiddos.
Yeah.
And that's all good. So
Kiddos,
we're gonna carry the candle today, carry the torch, and if you will, and probably suck some blood somewhere along the lines. Definitely suck some energy.
should have got out my red wine. Great excuse to drink red wine at 10 a.m. in the morning.
I brought myself a beautiful cup.
That's
my
so
little
cute.
teacup. Shout out to Sarah M. Braithwaite, who is one of our besties, who sent me over this beautiful teacup, super retro and
That's
um,
cool.
very Art Deco. I've also got my Nan's Gothic spoon that she sent me before she left and turned into an angel. So today I've just gone a little bit gothic-y with it. Um, Also, Sarah Braithwaite, you can find her on Instagram, Sarah M. Braithwaite.
Sarah.
Um, she is amazing. And at the moment, she's doing a whole heap of prompts on like AI, ChatGPT stuff. And I've just used one of the prompts that she's put into a PDF, and you can buy it for real cheap on her website. And basically, it writes out like a 4-week food menu plan. Because, I've got kids and family, and it's run 2 businesses, and it's mental, and I have chickens. That's enough. Um,
There goes the chicken.
enough
Chicken
said,
for dinner.
enough said the chickens cause the most problems out of my whole life. And so, yeah, so I put this prompt in exactly the way she sent it to me, added a couple of changes around the kind of foods that I want and stuff. It writes out an entire 4-week meal plan for our dinners, and then basically generates this entire shopping list with deals for my local supermarket. I was like, done. So I literally did that today. I went to the supermarket this morning before we jumped on this live, did it all. It took me like half the time. And I'm like, done. Oh my God, she's amazing. So if you are too busy and you don't want to muck around with shit like that, jump onto her Instagram. I'll make sure I put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, do that.
But it's a game changer, and it's a real time saver. And for busy women like us, and guys that are dads and running crazy lives, like, use AI to your benefit. So that's my little
Yeah.
club, Sarah.
Yeah. It definitely has it's like its good side, and then it's not so
Oh, totally. Yeah.
good.
And
To
that's
take
something
advantage of it.
I guess we'll probably go into that at some point, right? Like the AI
Yeah.
generation and kind of what that's doing and
Yeah.
stuff.
Look, we use it at work. Like even at work it's used, to do all
For
sorts of
sure.
bloody bits and pieces. So no,
Yeah.
it's all good.
It's just
It's
about not dumbing yourself down, right? Don't
yeah.
don't
Yeah,
use it.
still do the legwork, and then use it to refine it. That's what
Yes, 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 yes. Fabulous. Hey, so what's been going on in the world of Juliet before you turned into a vampire? Obviously,
Oh,
we've been.
before I turned into a vampire, I should be a bloody vampire. I'm up all night. We're moving house in the next 3 weeks. So we've got a massive, big new house. So that's going to be really crazy. So I just don't even want to think about that because that's a whole lot of packing going on. And this morning I was driving the kids to school and flicking through the radio channels because they were annoying and weren't playing any music. And all I heard was the word conspiracy. And I was like, woo, I'm going back to that one. Click, click, what's going on here? And for conspiracy stuff to end up on Australian radio, it's like, yeah, it doesn't happen very often. So they were talking about how a Harvard professor or somebody came out and said in 117 days there is a space rocket that's going to smash into the Earth and aliens are going to be on it. So there we go.
I'm
So so I'm sitting there cracking up listening to these guys going, well, haven't we heard this a few times now? So what's your views, Lisa, on this alien ship that's heading to Earth?
I love it. I freaking love it. I love it. No,
I'm like, yes, about time.
I have questions, right? I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to stuff like that because I've seen stuff in the sky often. Like, we've done a lot of research on this sort of stuff, and I'm like, number one, how do they know it's a ship of sorts?
Mhm.
How do they know there are things maybe inside it? I've heard that it's hostile. How do you know it's hostile?
And its
Um,
trajectory is straight for Earth. So if
yeah,
it's an asteroid, we're all gone.
yeah,
So in
100%.
117
Unless they
days.
mean you're hostile as in it's going to smash the living shit out of Earth. Okay, totally hostile. Um, there is a theory that's come out by one of these Harvard professors saying that it's nuclear powered. But I do believe that they're basically running their theories off the ideas that there is some form of propulsion system because it's speeding up and it's not being dragged into gravitational pull,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the clincher, I believe, that it's too far away from the other planets to be dragged into those planets' gravitational pull if
It
we
just
believe.
seems to be on a
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? If we
That
believe that
is it.
these things are real, like i.e. planets are real, they have gravitational belts, all that sort of stuff. If we believe that that is real, then it should not be able to speed itself up unless it had a propulsion system.
Yeah.
That's where I
And
think
is this okay? So number one of the things that came out went, this will be our first alien contact. That's wrong. And then
Roswell, anyone. Oh my
says
God.
everyone. And who was the guy that came out like a year ago and said that this is going to be fake news? This is what they're going to do. They're going to tell you that this alien ship is coming to Earth and blah, 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 blah. And I've forgotten his name. I had it before, totally forgotten his name, but he came out and said that there are, these things are going to happen. There's this conspiracy. This is not real. This is what they're going to say. They're going to say that there is a mothership heading towards Earth. And what's happened now? They're all coming out. There's a scientist here. There's a news report here, and now it's on the radio. It's like, yeah, I'm like, come on,
You can
guys.
see the trend happening, right? It
Yeah,
happens with anything that the mainstream, the people in charge are desperate to push, right? If they're
yeah.
desperate to push a certain agenda, you can literally watch it unfold. Let's get credibility on board. So let's get some scientists to
Harvard.
validate it. Let's
Yeah.
get the radios in on it. They'll start kind of just touching in there and like dropping it in and da da da, and then it becomes main news stream. So
Okay, so when is 119 or 117 days?
I believe it's
Done
November.
this math. Yeah.
I
So what
believe
are they trying to hide? What are they trying to? We'll probably
you.
get cut if we get cut off, guys. It's probably why.
Yeah. That's absolutely it. Look,
What are they trying to hide?
anytime these things happen, it's always a look over there, but not over here.
Not over here.
There's something else going on over here, so we just need you to look over there. At the same time, there are things going on as far as like the crazy financial shift going on,
Yeah.
i.e. to digital currency, and there's a whole heap of money transferring hands. So just keep an eye on that going on. I don't think that we can fight against the digital money stuff, but there's also the other side of that, or the other kind of, I guess, part that works together with that, this financial change, but also this digital ID change, which is coming in at the moment in the UK. I saw
When is
that
that coming in? In Australia, it's coming in around November, December. So
December.
they're going to like push it. So that's exactly what they've done here is that you are not going to be able to, they're using the excuse that, and I know they're doing this in America as well. They're using the excuse it's to keep children under the age of 16 off of, adult things. I'm like, well, if you can do that, then why aren't you finding all the pedophiles?
Yeah, also
Like,
I've got more to that,
yeah.
right? So I'm so glad that you brought that up because basically they're doing this in the UK at the moment. It's voluntary, so you
Oh,
can
not here.
volunteer to get a digital ID.
Yeah.
In Australia, they're pushing it under the law of, or under the guise of, under 16-year-olds are no longer allowed to be on social media. They're trying to bring it into New Zealand as well. And this is really important for us to get this out here. So if you're listening, bear with us because it's really great for you to understand what's happening in Australia and New Zealand. We are testing grounds for the rest of the world. If it works in New Zealand and Australia, we can roll it out throughout the rest of the world, right? If it's accepted
Yeah.
down here. And so basically, it's under this guise of under 16s are not allowed on social media. And so in December in Australia, they are going to roll out restrictions to Google search, right? If you do not have digital ID set up or show your driver's license or your ID, you cannot make a Google search on the internet.
Cannot access
How
it.
fucked up is that, right? The worst part about this is this bullshit law of under 16-year-olds not being on social media. They can't get on Instagram. They can get on PORN Hub, one easy click. That's not restricted. It's only Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at Roblox now is now starting. Roblox is supposed to be, it's been designed for children. It's aimed at children. What
Yeah.
have they just brought in? They're bringing in a dating app on Roblox.
Of course they are, because that supports all the P files.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at me being so,
Yeah,
YouTube.
I know. We're probably going to get this one like probably be cut off, but we will have it on other things.
I tell you what, yeah, if you're looking for the unrated, the R version, go over to Cult of Conspiracy. Okay, you can listen to us
Yeah.
over there.
Uncensored.
And and we appreciate, oh my gosh, everyone that's listening to us on Cult of Conspiracy, the
Yeah.
comments coming through are so beautiful. Do you know, it just makes our hearts feel so, so happy when somebody messages us or like drops a comment on Spotify and says, I've just found you girls. I love that you're so funny, or you crack us up, or you just bring it. So thank you so much because it means a lot, when you're putting yourself out here. It really sucks when people shut you down, even for no reason. It still like hits you real deep. So to have awesome people say, you're doing so good, it makes us feel so happy. So thanks. Okay, let's talk about vampires.
Vampires. All right. So we were going to do vampires a little while back, and then that didn't work. And then we're going to get Raven, and that didn't work. I'm telling you, the vampire lords are not with us, but they will be today. So for anyone here that's following us and live or even later, chuck down your favorite vampire movie, TV show, whether you think they're badass or sexy. Probably that's going to get us banned as well. Who bloody knows these days? Yeah, so put down your like basically your most badass vampire, and then put down for your ladies out there and for some of you guys, put down your most sexiest vampire. That'll be
Okay.
really cool. So
I don't know. Like,
who's yours, Lisa?
I'm a fan of the
Are you a
old.
Twilight? Are you a Twilight fan?
No. Oh, Jess. You know what? I can't even drink my cup of tea on that comment. Screw you. Do you know what? Like, my son is 17, right? He got this girlfriend a year ago. They've been together. She's absolutely lovely. She is very much the girl next door, super unassuming. And
Oh God.
and he says to me, I know. And he says to me, Mum, I've just watched all of the Twilight movies. And I was like, why on earth would you waste your life? And he goes, because Evie likes them. And I said, well, what did you think? He goes, oh, actually, I really, really like them. I was like, oh my God, you're not my son. Get away from me. I did not spawn
We
you.
will show you some real vampire movies.
Yeah. It was so funny. I was just like, I can't handle those Twilight movies, partly because of Kristen Stewart, because she just has one face. I just can't handle her as an actor. But also, like, since when are vampires glittery? I mean, we spent a lot of time glittering our bodies up in the 90s, going out to town in the early 2000s.
That stuff just does not come off.
That shit of glitter, right? Like, you cannot get it off. It's all over the bed sheets when you wake up in the morning. And it's all over pretty much anyone that you've touched. Oh, no. I'm trying to drink my cup of tea and I can't. I keep like wanting to snort it.
Gary, please don't watch this episode. Too late.
Look, there were things that happened in our past. Like, there was just a lot of glitter.
A lot of glitter, a lot of holy dresses, a lot of no clothing.
We were wearing clothing. We were never naked.
Minimal.
There was a lot of gaffer tape in my life, to be honest.
Tape? You had gaffer tape?
There was that one time that I wore bubble wrap, but it was a really bad life choice because people tried to pop my bubbles and I was like, just stop touching me. So.
And we had the absolute pleasure of every year having the Wellington Sevens. So we just got to dress up. If you haven't seen our doll photos, we should probably we've got a few kind of costume ones that we've put up. Like, we didn't really take a lot of photos back then. We were just like, it was probably a really good thing that there wasn't a lot of social media around those days. But yeah, like Lisa and I, any opportunity to dress up, we would do it. Like, it was just so much fun. And the sevens was like seven-a-side rugby, for those of you who don't know. And Wellington was the capital of the dress up of sevens. So everybody went out. Everybody was in costume. Yeah, it was just amazing. Look it up. It'll be on YouTube. There'll be like on Google. Look up Sevens rugby in Wellington, and then look at all the costumes, and you'll just see such a huge variety. It was so much fun. Unfortunately, I don't think it's like as good as what it used to be. And they were like the whole city basically used to shut down, and all the bars were open. And you had international people. You had rugby teams from Ireland and Canada, America, Samoa, like all the islands. It was just like this big worldwide. And so you would literally have people from all around the world, and it was just such a fun weekend.
amazing
Yeah,
weekend.
you
It
just
was
got to meet the most
on
amazing
Friday and
people.
Saturday. So Friday would be all the prelim games, and nobody would really kind of dress up. Those are for your hardcore like people that were actually there to
Going to
watch
the
the
rugby. They were more rugby, dressed up like rugby.
And then Saturday was all of the finals.
Finals.
After the finals, they had this huge street party. So, like in Wellington, for everyone that doesn't know, we have a street called Courtney Place, which essentially is like just shops and then bars.
Bars.
And you can literally cut that street off. So I was thinking about this the other night when I was talking, like going through vampire stuff, and I was researching because there was an amazing TV show slash movie that was filmed in Wellington all about vampires. And I was remembering down Courtney Place, they did the first premiere of Lord of the Rings. Do you remember that,
Oh,
Jules?
yeah, we were there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, because they
awesome.
basically cut the street off, stopped all the traffic, and put this huge red carpet out, and then literally like rode all the horses down through the middle of the street towards the Embassy Theatre where they had the premiere of the movie. And that's literally what they do at the Sevens party, and everyone dresses up crazy town. We've been what babushka dolls. We were oh my gosh, like movie characters. Just
Military, we've been leather clad, we've been
a lot
my
of
thumb.
bustiers. Yeah. Wait, no, you have to tell that story. That was quite funny.
The day that we were getting dressed up to go out, I basically ripped the nail off of my thumb and it was pretty sore, as you can imagine. So I had it kind of like bandaged up and it was just, I was holding my thumb all night like this. It was so sore.
It was so sore.
We were going through the crowds. It was
And
all
it's huge.
good.
You gotta
And then
remember
it was
like thousands of people.
thousands of people. It was
Thousands.
really thing. So Lisa's got my hand. I'm going and my thumb's like this. And next minute I walk into this guy dressed up as like a Native American with like this like Native American dress on. And my thumb went right up his butt. And he turned around. He was like, wow. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happens at Sevens.
Actually, I was like, please go and wash your thumb. We're going to a bathroom somewhere. We need to sanitize.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the cleaner stuff that happened anyway. But we should probably do a talk on that. That was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. It's so much fun reminiscing on like weird stuff that
Yeah.
we've managed to get
Yeah.
ourselves
And we're
in.
sorry. We'll go back to vampires, guys.
No, I was actually going to talk about the Embassy
Oh
premiere
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
Courtney Place because there was a really awesome movie and it got turned into a TV show as well that's based around Wellington and it's all about
Keep
vampires.
going. My dog is huffing at me to go out. Keep going.
Oh my God, seriously? I'm glad that she's not in her pajama pants. Otherwise, you would be able to see her running away from her chair right now. Anyway, this movie is called What We Do in the Shadows. And I've got a little bit of interesting kind of coincidences that happened on set because they actually used a whole heap of old, like 120-year-old houses that were built in central Wellington. And they're all around kind of like where the embassy is focused, where Courtney Place is, and all that sort of stuff. And they're really, really old houses. And surprise, surprise, one of the houses they filmed in was a house that I used to live in when I was kind of like 19 or whatever. And they had a whole heap of paranormal occurrences in that house. And I can attest to that because I had a whole heap of paranormal occurrences in that house up in Roxburgh. I was just like, this is not okay, man, Mount Vic. So yeah, so
Oh,
that's
that whole area.
what they do in the shadows, what we do in the
Oh,
shadows.
such a funny, yeah, such a funny
So
TV. You
funny.
got to watch it. It's now it's I think you can watch it on YouTube and stuff like that. It's on like a lot.
Taika Waititi
Yeah.
is the director and Jermaine
Yeah.
Clements.
Yeah, real funny. So
I've got a little bit of information about that later talking about movies I love.
oh yeah. Oh, they've got there's so many. So right, all right. So we're going to start with modern vampirism. Like honestly, I had no idea. I know people dress up as vampires and they get little fangs and that kind of stuff, but I was really unaware of the whole culture. It was, and I found it really, really interesting. So, like beyond the whole kind of fandom and stuff, there's like this hidden world, of people that like identify as vampires, whether it's spiritually or energetically, and in some cases physically. like the whole subculture kind of it really challenges the whole mainstream um of what we think that vampirism is, and and all of that kind of stuff. So I just found this like really interesting. There's like a whole kind of there's like the whole role play side of it where people just they're like, this is me, I'm a vampire. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go through like some of the modern vampires and the subcultures. So if I get any of this wrong, this is kind of just what I've researched and spoken to people about and stuff. So, and and as like all groups, there's like different kind of views on what different ones kind of do. But this is like the general kind of just the general kind of overturn of all of them was. So number one, you've got your lifestyle, and well, the lifestylers. So they are vampires. Sometimes vampires spout vampyres.
Yeah.
Okay, so these guys, they embrace the vampire identity and choose it as kind of like a way of life. So the way they dress, the way their houses are, the way they live. There's a real strong connection, especially with the fashion side of stuff. We all know, so that really gothic look, the philosophy. They literally live full time as vampires. And they are like key members and key figures at like all the events. Like there's called events like this is all like in the States. Most of this in the States. There's like the saber-tooth fangs and endless night vampire balls. So these are two really famous balls that happen like in New Orleans and around a few of the other places. And like basically everyone comes together and yeah, they just kind of all dress up as
Like a
these
dancing
vampires.
ball.
Like
Like
a ball, yeah, and they all get just oh my God, the beautiful dresses and the costumes. It's just stunning. Look them up. I think like with the social media, there are kind of links and stuff there of kind of some of these places. I've put pictures of the balls and stuff up. It's just yeah.
Okay, I would love to go
Um,
to a vampire ball. I just don't, I'm not keen on the drinking of the people's blood or having my
That
energy.
is a misconception. So
Yeah.
this is where, so these guys don't drink blood. Okay, so there is a specific, yeah.
So
So
what are
we'll
they
get on
called?
to that. Yeah.
What are they
So
called?
so these are like the lifestyle vampires.
Yeah.
There are ones that do, but yeah, we'll get into that. So the next number two is like the living vampires. These ones they focus on the quest for immortality, whether it's through their legacy, technology, or spiritual practice. Um, they follow like a really deep philosophical path and really identify as psychic or sanguinarian. Sanguinarians are the blood drinking vampires. Okay. So these guys don't really identify as psychics or sanguinarians. Okay. So the groups that these include Order of the Vampire, Temple of the Vampire, and Ordo Stratogi or Strigoi or something. The eighth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Sorry. These are all like we'll put all these out. So there are actual places and temples and stuff that are out there that you can contact and become a part of them. You can have a mentor. So if you're a young person or whatever that's going, hey, this is how I feel, blah, blah, you can go and be mentored. But like most things, you've got to be really careful.
Is this a satanic thing? Like,
No,
is this part
it's
of like,
completely
is this
it's
connected
not
to like
nothing to
satanic
do with
church, like that
Satanism. Yeah.
stuff?
And this is kind of what I've learned is that it's there's always a darker side to each of these things, but
Yeah.
there's like this real kind of difference between a lot of them. Okay, so yeah, so we've got number one, we've got psychic vampires. Okay, so there's two types of psychic vampires. So this is the next kind of group. So there's ethical and traditional. So traditional psychic vampires. So these guys are often unaware of their nature. They unintentionally drain others' energy through negativity, chaos, or emotional intensity. When you meet people and you're just like, whoa, you know, That's
Draining me.
you are draining me. And literally there are people out there where they're just draining that energy from you. So I found this really, really interesting. So now this is where it gets a bit dark. The term comes from the early works like the Satanic Bible and psychic self-defense. These guys are typically on the outside of the vampire community, and they're seen more as a psychological one than a spiritual one. So there's a real kind of split within these communities of who's accepted and who's not. So who's that? Hello.
Shout out to the indescribable Octo Man.
Hi, buddy.
Going on. What's your
Oh, how
favorite
you doing?
vampire movie? Drop it in the comments.
Right, and then you get on to your ethical psychic vampires. So they believe they have an energy deficiency and they feed on life force like prana and chi, kind of like in the other ones, from consenting donors to maintain their well-being. Okay.
Ooh, can you hold on
Yes.
to that for a second? So I love that you've brought that up because the thing that I went into was a thing called loosh, which is essentially life force created by emotions that is not consensually taken. It's essentially just taken for gods or entities,
That's
beings.
where the traditional psychic vampires above, where they're going into that darker side, the Satanic Bible, the psychic self-defense, all that real darker stuff. So they will steal it, they will take it.
Yeah.
Whereas these ethical ones, are basically they ask for permission. They follow like clear ethical. There's really strict guidelines within the vampire communities for each ones and what's allowed and what's not allowed. Um, and as we know, there's always people that will take advantage of that. So there's often they get guidance to awaken and manage their condition. And one of the books that they follow is Raven Caldera's The Ethical Psychic Vampire. So there's literally guides and like type of Bibles that they kind of follow. So
Wow.
that was, yeah, so that was like so you've got your lifestyle vampires, your living vampires, your psychics. So you got your traditional who are like the Satanic Bible, the darker, the ethic psychic vampires. Right, now we've got the sanguinarians. So this is or sanguine. This is short for a person who consumes human blood as part of the vampire subculture. Now, these guys are not really accepted in parts of the vampire community. They are kind of like their own kind of subculture. So it's like even within the other vampire communities, it's seen as taboo.
Is that because these are the modern day vampire communities versus what used to happen with the drinking of the blood back in the 1600s?
I think it's all because there was like that big change. Like number one, AIDS was a big part of that. AIDS was a big part of the change. You've got hepatitis, you've got all these blood diseases that you can actually get. And these diseases were like contracted by people who were doing this. So I think as it's kind of gone on, and people also realize that they don't need to drink blood. Like they live like that and stuff, but they don't need to consume blood to feel a part of that community. So the sanguinarians or sanguines believe they need to consume human blood to maintain physical, mental, and spiritual health. They often identify as real vampires. So the blood drinking is not about a fetish. It's not a fetish for them. It is what they believe is a serious personal need.
Adrenochrome, anyone?
Sorry?
Adrenochrome, anyone?
Yeah.
What is adrenochrome? It's just adrenalized blood come from, having an emotion or a fear or whatever it is. And usually it's fear and that sort of stuff. And it usually comes from children is what they talk about. And that keeps them young, youthful, ageless, all of the above.
Yeah, yeah, and like in so many cultures, there's blood drinking people, blood drinking vampires, drinking, and there are diseases out there where people crave blood,
Sure.
and they can't go in the sun because like the rays and the UVs affect them and that kind of stuff. So, but they are not vampires, you know what I mean? This is an actual disease that they're saying. So yeah, so like due to the health risks and the stigma of it, the vampire community treat this as a taboo. And they're only like a very small part of the community. Like there's a much bigger area of it.
Well, I guess it's been quite modernized. Like the idea of vampires, like you've talked about, being just so much more modernized with,
Yeah,
television and social media and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff, the things, and we get to dress up like a vampire sort of thing. It's far more acceptable to go, not necessarily join a vampire church, but do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
be a part
yeah,
of the community that goes, oh, like we kind of run on these sort of energetic, ethical practices and that
yeah,
sort of stuff. It's far more accepted and it's far more modernized now, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, and there's still that there is definitely that underground of people who say that they don't drink blood and they do, that's all come out. But, for a larger part of them, it's more about being part of that community and being able to live that lifestyle. Like a big thing for them is actually going and getting fangs fitted. Like there's the fangdom, so they will literally go and have their first fangs put in, and they are just like over the moon. But it's because they feel like outsiders. Anybody who's been in that space where you feel like you're an outsider, that you don't belong, that you're not part of this special group. It's really hard for them, and it's like all of a sudden they've found this family, because that's how they see it. They see it as a family. There are like about 12 groups. So the contact that they have, they literally go through a role-playing game. So this is how they've connected worldwide. So there's a vampire game called Vampire the Masquerade. So it started as a tabletop role-playing game, and then it's gone online basically. So it's set in a fictionalized gothic punk version of the modern world where the players assume roles of vampires, referred to as kindreds or canites, and they struggle against their own bestial natures. Okay, so there's vampire hunters, secret vampire societies, all this. So what's happened is that game has become the actual meeting place for vampires to connect worldwide and to meet up and all this kind of stuff. So there's this real thing, and it doesn't matter how you kind of look into it, that there are three major clans, 13, sorry, 13 major clans that basically run all of these, so there's different leaders and they do different stuff. But I mean, these meetups happen worldwide now, and it's all through this game, being able to give them somewhere to connect and to talk to each other and to discuss stuff. So
But
yeah, it's pretty
I
amazing.
love the angle that you've kind of brought this in. It's totally like I said to you before we started filming, I was like, look, Jules, I don't know anything about vampires other than what I've seen in movies and
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of knowledge base around it, but nothing, like very much nothing major. Uh,
yeah, it's
and so
it's interesting.
I love the perspective that you've brought it in at because I guess, one of the reasons we started Cryptid Women's Society, and it's the same with cryptids, it's the same with paranormal, it's the
Yeah.
same with any of these minority groups that you have an interest in and an involvement in. It's because you're looking for a group of like-minded people that aren't going to laugh in your face, tell you you're stupid and ridicule you. You're looking for people that have a bit of a brain and can have a conversation and can create some sort of community and some sort of
Yeah.
experience for you, right?
And like this community is, you have got doctors, lawyers, police, military. It is a huge community. Like it is not people who are just off the streets or just, teenagers, all this kind of stuff. There are very prominent people that are in the vampire community. And it's a real thing. But as we were discussing this morning, there is a very dark side to it where some of these leaders have taken advantage of some of these young girls, but that's like
What
every
happens in
church,
church?
every cult, you name it. That this is kind of what happens. But this is not a cult, and I want, people to understand this is not a cult. These are, this whole kind of learning about all the vampirism and the modern day stuff has kind of like really opened my eyes. It's just like it
Mm-mm-mm.
is. It's like a bunch of bogans hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like a
Or
bunch of tigers. There you go, off you go. It's yeah, it is very interesting, and yeah, it's And there's millions around the world, basically. It's not like it's a small community. This is a very, very fast kind of growing community. And you know, and it is kind of hidden in the shadows, but they kind of like that, you know. Of course, New Orleans has just got, you know,
Sure.
like so much history there of the vampires, and I'm going to go in and talk about one of the most famous vampires there. Um, but yeah, I think it's you know it's really good. If there's anybody out there in the vampire community that would love to come and speak to us, we would love to hear your views on it. We would love to talk to you. There is absolutely no judgment, you know, and that was the big thing that I came across, you know, that I felt after kind of like researching all of this, is that they're just normal people. They just want to feel that they're a part of a community like we all do. Yeah, and oh my God, like the costumes and just, man, I would love to go to one of these vampire balls. That would be so cool. You
Yeah.
know, they're just absolutely stunning. So yeah.
So interesting, because I guess like if you look at it from like movie Hollywood and that sort of stuff, you've got the vampire side where it's like Dracula and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, where these vampires are sucking the blood and they're like terrible and terrifying and all this sort of stuff. And then you've got the other side, which is like Underworld, Kate Beckinsale, who is like amazing costumes and super beautiful and everyone's dressed up and yeah, they drink
Yes.
blood, but it's not that bad. You know, like you totally buy into that sort of stuff. And then Twilight kind of sits in
Yeah.
the middle there of, but they're just romantic and they just want love and, you know, they just want to be treated as normal people. And so it's so vast, it's
Yeah.
so broad. How do you figure out where the truth lies, right? How do you
Yeah.
understand that as a whole until you start going, okay, I'm going to do a podcast episode on vampires so
I'm
I
going to
can
go deeper into
literally
it. Yeah.
yeah, so I can literally research myself and actually understand.
Yeah.
I find it really, really interesting. And I love that this like kind of minority group, and you see this as a minority group, you're talking millions of people around the world are a part of it.
Yeah.
Same with the likes of Bigfoot or cryptozoology,
Yeah.
same with ufology, same with reptilians, same with all of these little minority groups. And it's so cool because there's this connection and this crossover that we
Crossover.
can all delve into and we can all connect with it. Whether or not you have a belief system that incorporates that, irrelevant. It's all energy transfer, right? And we were talking about this just a little bit earlier in regards to like manifesting and doing some inner work around kind of what it is that's holding you back and what it is that's stopping you from making these choices and being confident in your own ability and your own decisions. And we're actually talking about going on expeditions and adventures and where's our next exhibition
We're not at the sevens anymore, Lisa. There's no poles.
expedition going to be. And we were kind of like, what is this inner voice saying that, you know, we're afraid or we're fearful or we're scared? We're not afraid of anything. We have martial art, high degrees in martial arts. We use guns, we use weapons. We've done all of this sort of stuff. But as we've gotten older and kind of stuck into this whole work space, your inner voice starts
And
kind
that
of telling you.
constant media fear these people, don't go there. So yeah, and there is, and you know, and you have to admit the crime is so bad now. Like I used to be able to go and walk around a cemetery by myself at midnight. We used to think it was funny to scare the shit out of ourselves. Now there's no way I would do that. I can't do that because it is too risky. You know, and
Yeah.
that's the really sad part about kind of growing up in these times, is that we can't go and do that. You know, it's, you know, that's the real downside to it. And I suppose, you know, that fear is constantly kind of drilled into your head along with everything else. You know, and then it's just like, no, just got to stop, you know, because you're just going to be controlled by fear. You're never going to go back out and do something. You know, it's like, yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're working through at the moment because like all of our members are kind of where we're sitting as well. And they're dealing with, if we're dealing with that, then they're 100% dealing with that as
Yeah.
well. And so Juliet and I are kind of going through that process at the moment as to kind of how do we reclaim that confidence and that kind of internal, like no doubt, like just
We're just
feel
going to go.
right. And yeah, and we'll figure it out at some point, hopefully soon, so that we can help our members.
Going to nicer places, but we need some really rough places. But you know, that's but I mean, look at us. We get together and then we just start walking up the hills and doing bad things. But doing
It's that inner voice, right? And I kind of like, as far as like the vampire communities go and these other little niche communities, you kind of I wonder how brave they are at telling someone that they're part of this vampire community. I wonder if
yeah.
they, like UFOs, for example, you tell somebody that you saw a UFO and they laugh you off the street, still, with even with all the congressional hearings going on,
Yeah.
the disclosure,
And the
they
government going
still
out, yes,
laugh.
there's
Yeah,
UFOs.
yeah,
No, they're
absolutely.
not. Yeah.
They still laugh at you. And it's a pretty hard place to be when you get told you're not right. You don't know what you saw and you're incorrect all the time. And so, yeah, it plays with that little inner voice and it has big impact on the world that you live in and the reality that you create for yourself, right?
I love it. Like, I just really, I think it's amazing um, that these people will go out there and go, this is me. I'm going to be true to myself and I'm going to follow this vampire lifestyle, and stuff like that. And they do it wholeheartedly, there's a big part of it too, that where they're just, they're not all kind of dressing up as vampires 24/7. They absolutely love the movies, the books, all that kind of thing. And they get the chance to go to these nightclubs, to go to these balls and to be able to dress up and then, kind of carry on and back into our normal life, as we say, and we do it, here we are, we talk about conspiracies and vampires and Bigfoot, and then we go to work,
Yeah. Hopefully it's
and
something
deal with people,
cool now.
as we all do who are in this community, unless you're in it 24/7, but we will get there. But yeah, it's a big part of it. So I just like, I'm really fascinated by it, and I would love to, actually go into that community, to go to one of these balls and to talk to these people that are like part, all of them, even the sanguines, and just kind of like really get to the bottom of, their philosophy and how they feel. And, yeah, it would be really cool. So if there are any vampires out there, of all parts of the community, if you would like to contact us, we would love to have I'd love to have a talk to you. We'd love to interview you. There is no judgment here on any lifestyle that you choose to have. So, yeah, it'd be super exciting. I'd love it.
Love it. What else you got, girl?
Okay, so going from our modern vampires, we're going to go into a very famous New Orleans. Well, he's not just New Orleans, but famous around New Orleans is Saint Jacques Saint Germain. Okay, so he is. Oh God, there's so much. So first of all, we will start with Count of Saint Germain. So right, this is back. Let's start in Europe. This is the 1700s, right? So this man appears in royal courts across France, England, and beyond, right through Europe, okay? Nobody knows where he's come from, what his real name is, but he gave himself the pseudonym the Count of Saint Germain. But he also admitted to kings that this wasn't his true identity. Now, there are letters and reports from famous people like the Madame de Pompadour, who was King Louis the 15th mistress, I might add. She was very popular, apparently. And from King Louis himself and Voltaire were all said to enjoy his company and wrote about him. Okay, so he's not a figment of people's imagination. Okay, so this was a real living person. So he was a multilingual, like he spoke so many languages, and we're talking about Greek and Roman, and not Greek, Greek and Egyptian, all these different languages. Like he was just like amazing, a master musician, an alchemist, and a storyteller, and he moved very easily among the nobility. So one thing that most of them all agree on, and even researchers and people that have done, historians have done on, that he is from nobility. So that there's kind of no real thing. So he does have a noble background, a royal background.
So he came out of just like nowhere,
Nowhere.
and started showing up
Out of nowhere. So the first thing was in the 1700s. Yeah. Everyone was absolutely fascinated by him because he seemed timeless. Sorry. He looked no older than 50.
Mm,
Yet people had known him for 20 plus years. So the
mm.
whole time he was in the court, his age never really changed. He just looked the same, even decades
Wow.
earlier. Yeah. So
Question of flag number one.
yeah, wow. So, so even stranger, whenever he hosted banquets, he never ate. Now, this is written back from the 1700s. So this is written like kings have written about this, nobles have written about him, like top, famous people going, we absolutely love this guy. He is an entertainer. He tells us stories. Um, but yeah, but here we go. So whenever he hosted the banquets, he never ate, not a single bite. Nobody ever saw him eating. He would, even though the guests would be enjoying lavish meals and eating, he always stood off to the side, sipping from a jeweled goblet with what they assumed was wine, this red liquid, but they thought was wine. So instead of food, he fed them stories, stories of historical events told in such vivid details, like he was actually there. So this guy even claimed to have conversations with Cleopatra and other famous pharaohs and be in all these places and in Greece and in all these things that are happening, and
Ancient.
he would talk about when he was there when there were no planes and when there were no vehicles, and all this kind of stuff, and he would give these vivid descriptions of these places and these historical events, which later on, if people didn't even know them, proved to be real.
Oh, flag number two.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Oh,
so yeah, he also claimed that he was centuries old and that he had found a way to cheat time. He was linked to secret laboratories, elixirs of youth, and he even had the ability to fuse diamonds together, which was apparently seen. Okay. Some called him a genius. Some others turned around and said that he was something far darker because they knew that he was, basically doing all these things and, but people always said that there was a little bit of a darker side to him, right? So he was described as being short, like he wasn't a very tall man at all. And so he had like the kind of white, he had very, very distinct features, right? So this was this guy. So officially he died in 1784 in Germany, but there are reports of him being seen long after his supposed death. Like people, when he was traveling around the world, people would be like, hey, that's him, that's him. Okay, so now this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So it is said that his father, so nobody really knew where he came from, but he did tell King Louis because people were like, who are you? Who are you? Why won't you tell us? So he was forced into telling King Louis who he truly was, and King Louis accepted it and basically told everybody, I know, you don't need to know. Interesting, eh? So, but it is said that his father was Francis II Razowski, who was a Transylvanian prince.
ah, plot thickens.
So he was under scrutiny for some reason, just like whatever, and he had a son. And they said they thought his son was in danger, that like he basically got threatened that they were going to come and kill his family. And so he wanted his son to survive. So he gave him to the Medici family to
Oh my
raise.
God. I wish you could all see my face right now. Anyone listening on Cult of Conspiracy, my mouth just dropped open.
Oh, how cool is that? So, like, everybody who knows the Medici family, they're one of the main families, the powerful. They were into, oh my God, just all sorts and alchemy and yeah, all that kind of stuff. They're all well known for it. So, and yeah,
So potentially he gave his vampire son to the
the
Medici
Medici
family, who
family,
is still in control.
who are pretty kind of out there themselves. So, fast
Oh,
forward.
hang on, wait, no, hold on, hold on.
Okay.
I've got something to add to it. Okay, so
Okay,
you
go,
said
go.
that this guy, Saint Germain, Count of Saint Germain, am I correct there?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So Count of Saint Germain back in the 1700s, you said that he was seen fusing diamonds together.
Yes.
Right, I just jumped on that. Basically, it says you can't simply melt and fuse diamonds as their high melting point and sublimation under an atmospheric pressure make it impractical for most purposes. Instead, diamonds are joined together using other materials. Essentially, it is impossible to fuse diamonds
Together.
together.
But they remember he was right into the alchemy, so he could have used something else, you know what I mean? So it could have been a sleight of the hand. Who knows? Yeah.
Well,
So
it might,
going
like
into all
you
that
say,
alchemy and all that kind of stuff. So
it could
yeah.
very easily be a shift of, a diamond at the end of the day is energy, right? It's just cells put
Yeah.
together or atoms put together in an energetic format. So it could, if he was into all of that sort of stuff and he had some sort of otherworldly powers, he could have manipulated that energy into some
Yeah.
different.
Because there are, isn't there? There's other people that have come out that have been into alchemy that can change this. They can make gold. They can, there's
And that's
stories
just
right through.
manipulation of the energetic
Yeah.
material. I have a quick comment just before you go take
Yeah.
us to the future. Hold on to that futuristic adventure for a second. What up to Kirby's 100? Hey, hey.
Maybe.
Um, uh, drop your favorite vampire movie in the comments here. The indescribable Octoman says Salem's Lot. What do you reckon?
Ooh.
And I like it. We also have a question from Kirby's 100. Do you think, this is a great question, by the way. Do you think vampires have bad breath? Have you ever smelled a vampire's breath?
Ooh, wow. I mean, well, I
Very white.
mean,
The
you basically just live drinking blood, and that's probably not the best. That'd be quite sulfuric, because you smell you like anybody who's been on a farm and been around something that's been killed, or you've been hunting and there's a lot of blood around, it's got that really strong sulfuric type smell. Um, would that, oh my God, I guess they could have the doomsday farts from hell, can they?
Do they fart?
Do
Oh,
vampires fart? Tell me.
we need to know. We
We
need
need
to
to know. Do vampires fart? That would be great.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that is
Oh
the
my
best.
God. Sorry, did that answer your question? Sorry. Maybe. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Well, I don't know. It's all depends on their gut makeup and well, because carrying on, like you see, like there was some blood found in bottles of wine, so they mix up the wine and absinthe. So maybe, yeah. So
Maybe they mix it.
yeah, it's a mixer.
And maybe they taste.
That's where cocktails came from. The original cocktails.
Oh my God, it's just.
This is going downhill real fast.
I tell you what, though, all things considered, right? Okay, I might not be a vampire, but I love my
A
steak.
good cocktail.
But I love some blood in a cocktail. No, I might not be a vampire, but I love my steak real bloody. Like my family, when they eat steak, they're like, "Cook it, mom," and I'm like, "You
No,
heathen." And so I'm like, I like it kind of rare, medium rare, potentially still walking
not
on
blue, but rare. Yeah, because there's people that eat it blue. We're like
it.
done.
No,
I'm like, oh no,
yeah.
you gotta kind of get that fat like a little bit kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
crispy.
I like a little bit of
Yeah,
crisp on the outside, but then I like it when it bleeds on the inside, right?
yeah.
So,
Reptilian vampire. Now we're kind of yeah.
yeah, there
We're
are.
both the same. Like you and I are like meat eaters, man. When we travel, we go out, we eat well. It's like I need meat. I can't not have meat every day. It's just one of those things. I
Juliet
can't
loves a
do
good piece of meat in her mouth. Let's move
it.
on.
I
I
hope that answered your question. We got onto vampire farts and bad breath, but I don't know. Carry on. Maybe this next bit will help.
sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone. It always goes down there so fast.
Okay, so now we're fast forwarding to the early 1900s in New Orleans, the French Quarter. So we have got to go there, man. So A Frenchman arrives, wealthy, charming, middle-aged. What's his name? Jacques Saint Germain.
Oh,
Mm. Ba, 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 ba.
that's a bit similar, isn't it?
It's a
Jack.
little bit similar. So he buys a home on Royal Street and starts throwing extravagant parties for the city's elite. Just like the Count, Jacques dazzled his guests with endless tales of history of Egypt, Italy, France, again told in such precise detail, it was like he explained it like he had lived them. Okay, so again, he's saying this is what happened, this is what happened. There were no trains, there were no planes. It was like this whole kind of same conversation. Okay, so very, very similar to what was being said. So, my thing is like, okay, did this guy read up about, the other guy, bloody the Count of Saint Germain, but then there wasn't, yeah, it's really hard. It's just kind of figured out. Also, like the Count, this guy was short and had blonde hair and blondie white hair. Okay, so probably like the little wiggy things.
Oh my
Very,
God.
very similar features.
The Lost Boys, anyone?
Yeah, but shorter. So this guy, so same as the Count, he was short, he was impeccably dressed, and so was Jacques. He was short, very impeccably dressed. He dressed like he had come from some ancient kind of place. So that, his costume, well, not his costumes, but the way he dressed was money, was wealth, was old money, it was all that kind of stuff. Um, very, very well educated, like the Count, spoke multiple languages, like the Count. Nobody knew where his money came from, just like the Count. So, and that is all they knew. They never knew where he came from, where he went, and like that. And then also recorded, just like the Count, he never ate. Nobody ever saw him eating. Okay. He would host banquets full of wine and food and, again, standing there telling everybody his stories. Guests only ever saw him drinking from a glass of a deep red liquid. There we go.
Well, Mr. Jacques St.
Yes.
Germain.
So, yeah, so he also had portraits of the Count of Saint Germain in his house. And people would look at the portrait and he would tell them that he was a descendant. He didn't say he was, he said he was a descendant of the Count, although he looked exactly the same as the paintings.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Ah,
There we
yes.
go. So there's like pictures of him, pictures of the Count, and yeah, they're very, 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 very similar.
Right. Genetically, there are people that look so similar to their parents, or like one parent
Yeah,
rather than
absolutely.
the other. But as they grow up, things start changing. We know this, right? My son is an was identical to his father, right? When he was little, he was literally a little mini me, not me, of his dad, right? He looked nothing like me. And as he's growing up, and now he's 17,
And
doesn't
he's
look
like 3 foot above his dad.
that too, taller than his father, but doesn't look like him at all. Like you would
Yeah,
not even pick that they were the same family
yeah.
line. So that's what I mean, right? Like, yeah, sure, when they're little, absolutely, but people grow into the other half of their genetic
Mm,
makeup, right?
yeah.
How does that not happen?
Mm. Yeah, so that's 150 years difference between them, right?
So that's two generations. That's not just
Yeah, that
one.
could be three. It could be three
That could
because
be
people didn't last that long. They'd be dying in their 40s and their 50s. You know what I mean?
sure.
People who went,
Even if
yeah,
he lasted until he was 80, that's 160 years of two generations. That's just on that cusp there, but you're talking about like that's no overlap, right? That's I had you when I was 80
yeah,
and you had me when you were 70.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't
So again, there are stories of him, people telling stories about meeting him and, all this kind of stuff. Even though you do go back into the historical books in New Orleans, and there is not much information. There was a Jacques Saint Germain that came over on a ship, and that was apparently an engineer. But it's all very like a lot of the information has been lost, and all that kind of stuff. But it's not the same person.
I imagine that that's quite a popular name, Saint Germain. I mean, like you see Saint Germain all over the show, and Jack was such a
Yeah.
popular European.
Yeah. So nobody really knew where they came from. Some said he was Spanish, some said he was Italian, some said he was Greek. So nobody really knew. But apart from that whole the Medici thing, there's been the Transylvanian one. There's been no real kind of connection. There was another, I can't remember, a countess. It was her illegitimate child or something. But yeah.
Do we know, like in the 1990s, in the 1900s, where Jacques St. Germain showed up, do we know who he was connected to? Because it sounds like in the past, the
nobody knows.
Connected to St. Louis.
Nope, nothing. They know nothing about him. This guy turned up, brought a house, had money, and hosted all these lavish parties. Until
like connections as far as like the families or the people that he partied with, that sort of stuff.
Nothing. He came in, he was a foreigner that came into New Orleans and basically just brought this house and then just started throwing lavish parties. And people from around the whole area and from other states will come because they knew about his parties and who should. So this was all really cool until one night things took a bad turn. So there was a scandal, a big scandal. So late one evening, a woman, some say she may have been a prostitute, was seen leaping from Jack's balcony. So she was a lady of the night. So she was accused of being a lady of the night. Others said that she wasn't. So there's conflicting things there. So she was seen leaping from Jack's balcony. Some said she smashed through the window and she basically hit the ground hard but survived. She was hysterical and bleeding from her neck. Okay. So she told bystanders that Jacques had attacked her. He had lunged at her throat, bitten her on the neck, and she only escaped when a knock at the door distracted him, giving her the chance to basically smash through this window and jump off a balcony. So, I mean, that's a pretty desperate move.
That is fear-driven.
That is fear-driven. That is things. So what happened? So the police got called. Jack's respected, he was respected and wealthy, calmly denied all of it and agreed to visit the station the next morning. So what happened is that the woman went to the police station. They accused her of being a lady of the night, which she may have been, but that doesn't make no excuse. And she gave them record of basically how he attacked her and what had happened. So they went to him that night and were like, hey, this is what, and he goes, oh, look, I'll come in the morning. I'll explain it all. Oh, there's no issue here. And they're like, all right, Jax, you're all good, mate. Come down to the police station in the morning. Jax didn't turn up. So they're like, so they went to his house. So when they knocked on the door and they went inside, it was empty. He was gone. Like he fled in the night. Okay. So he basically just grabbed his clothes and he was gone. Okay. So, but the only thing, so they went to where his refrigerator and all that kind of stuff was, or the food pantry, whatever it was. There was no food in there whatsoever, like nothing. But all they found were dozens and dozens of wine bottles. One of these wine bottles had been broken. And what was coming out of it was what they found. It was a mixture of wine and blood together. Some say it was absinthe, which was like that really strong aniseed kind of wine that was made of like wormwood and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really strong flavor and stuff like that. So that was literally where these bottles of blood were all that was left in this house. And he disappeared and he was never seen there again.
Hey, Jack, you forgot your wine bottle full of blood. You forgot your blood.
Well, they say that he was never seen again, but there are modern day stories. I'm talking about 2020s. I've got another one that will come in 2020s, 2024, all this kind of thing of people saying that he is still walking the streets and that he's still there. One guy was basically walking home one night. He saw a short man, blonde hair, leaning up against a pole, had kind of like the hat and a jacket and stuff on it. And he spoke briefly to this guy and he said something weird. I think I put it on all the social media. And then he was like, yeah, okay, mate, have a good night. And he walked past and he said it was just, he just felt really weird. So he turned around and the guy was gone. There was nowhere for him to disappear. Another one was a bunch of the train riders. You know how you get kids and young people that will ride the train. So there was some in New Orleans, and they said this elderly man that looked about in his 50s, 60s came and spoke to them. He was short, he was blonde. He came in, gave them some money, had a conversation with them, started talking about Egypt and all these other really thing places and about how he used to travel. And they were just like, he was just really weird. You know, they were just like, we just got bad vibes. And he goes, not in like a sexual way. He says, but we just got bad vibes. And then they, you know, they kind of left. So there are reports of supposed encounters with Jacques. So
Oh, wow.
hmm,
This is
it
interesting.
is. And then we come to 1970.
Ooh.
So
What happened in 1970, Juliet?
there was a guy called Richard Chanfray. So he was the 20th century Saint Germain. So he claimed that he was Saint Germain. He stepped onto European TV and made one of the boldest claims and said, this is me. This is who I am. So as you know, the original's from the 18th. So he comes along. He's a Frenchman born in Lyon who fully embraced like this whole legend of who he was. He presented himself as like this immortal count, and that he was alive and he was ready to show all his power in the modern age. So he appeared on French and television and Spanish television shows. His big trick was supposed alchemy, and he would transmute lead into gold on camera.
Right. Right.
So
Wow.
people quick dismiss it's nothing more than showmanship. But yeah, he lived a life, they said, wrapped in glamour and scandal. He was a public figure who loved the spotlight, but his personal life was often chaotic. And unlike the immortal count he claimed to be, Richard Chanfray's life ended tragically, where he basically undid himself. Yeah, at 35 years old.
Okay, so do
So
we have
alongside his partner, Dalida. So it was very public and shocking, and yeah.
so
So
do we have a story about when he went on television to actually do this alchemy trick? Did this happen?
no, just like from the 1970s. So
Can you spell
between
his name, Jules?
Richard Chanfray. So Richard and Chanfray, Chanfray. So there's probably stuff around him. Like I didn't really go into him because he, yeah. But it's what's really interesting. I don't know if we can bring up. Let me try and bring up this picture. I want to show you guys a picture.
The screen.
Oh, damn it. I want to bring up a picture. Documents? Do I go into documents? This is us. Sorry, I apologize.
I'm just going to share your screen.
Yeah,
Pop
it
up.
won't.
So I'm really interested in whether or not he actually did anything on television as far as alchemy, because I don't, throughout all of the research I've done, and I've done a little bit on alchemy, I don't know anyone that's ever managed to transmutate lead into gold. I mean,
Mhm.
that's always what the alchemy kind of catchphrase is, right? Alchemy allows you to change lead into gold and
Yeah.
become rich and whatever else.
Can you see him?
Oh, I'm not looking, sorry.
This-
Yes, I'm looking. Oh, hi.
So this
You
is him. Look at the nose. I'm sorry, but look at that nose, how it goes to the side and it's got a little hook.
noses don't lie unless you've had a nose job.
Yeah.
And
But I
earlobes.
mean that there's kind of little
And
differences.
earlobes.
Earlobes. Yeah.
Earlobes. Look at his earlobes.
I know. It's very interesting, but like his nose was the first thing that got me.
Mm. His nose and his earlobes. He's actually quite handsome, isn't he? Look at him.
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely
He's
a
all
handsome
like,
old
he's got his
fellow.
own Facebook page. I don't know if it is him because that would be weird, being that he offed himself.
Yeah.
I think that's just going to be a little bit strange. Very, very interesting,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
Oh, this is cool. I like this dude. I'm going to do a little bit of research into him and see if we can find some more
I'm
info
just trying to find
for.
the other picture. Sorry, guys. I'm just
It'd be really cool to do some research on and do a bit of a live on. Maybe we could actually do a whole episode on people that um have, allegedly can do alchemy. Can
yeah, here we go. Can you see these guys now?
Yes.
These are all the Saint Germains that have claimed to be Saint Germain through the years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I can
Mhm.
see I can see the similarities. And even if you were to take off the wig that those three of them are wearing, they would
Yeah,
be very, very similar, wouldn't they?
yeah, yeah. It's the nose, the mouth, the eyes. You know what I mean? It's all very, very, yeah.
And the earlobes.
Little
The
earlobes.
earlobes. The
Little
earlobes
earlobes.
say it all. The earlobes say it all.
Yep.
Yeah, very
And,
interesting.
you
And
know, and
obviously
these
all
portraits are done hundreds of years apart. And the photo. So whether he is or not, Mr. What's his name down there, Mr. Richard, I have no idea. But yeah, very interesting, isn't it? I mean,
wow.
it's just one of those things that you can't say yes and you can't say no. It's like it's up, leave it up to the people to be like, okay,
We need to ask some of our vampire listeners.
community.
If
Yeah,
vampire, please come and clear this mess up for us. We don't know. We don't understand. We don't want to make assumptions on whether or not Mr. Richard was the Jacques Saint Germain and the Count of Saint Germain. So,
yeah. So he's very, very he's spoken a lot. And that supposedly in New Orleans is the building that he actually brought when he was here, and bricked up is the window that this lady was supposed to have smashed through. So it's always seen as yeah, a kind of a place to go and
oh,
see.
well, we're totally going to New Orleans then, aren't we?
Oh,
And we're going to
absolutely.
Jacques Saint Germain. Oh my gosh. And this
Yeah,
is
so
why,
I just found it really fascinating, like the whole, I mean, like, who doesn't? I mean, who doesn't love the whole vampire lore and werewolves and all that kind of stuff if you're kind of crazy like us, but
oh, totally. Well, this is one of the reasons we wanted Raven Lee to jump in on this conversation because she knows so much about New Orleans. I think she's down in Louisiana.
yeah,
Um, and she could definitely jump into this conversation. So I think this will be like the part that we probably take onto our members interview with her so that we can like talk deeper about it because
yeah.
gosh knows her brain works like ours, which is not safe.
And I mean, there's plenty of vampire encounters in New Orleans. You know,
Sure.
like, stuff pops up all the time, how,
Mm.
women go there and basically they've had strange encounters with these men, or it's yeah, it's really interesting. But then you've got that whole underground, the vampire clubs and stuff there, which would just be pretty awesome to be able to go in and talk to people. And yeah, it's just
I think Louis Theroux did an episode as part of one of his like dark tourism series or whatever, and he went down to New Orleans and went to this vampire club or this group or whatever
yeah,
that were into the ritualistic drinking of human blood, but didn't like to consume human blood.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah. Actually,
went.
I didn't go on to, sorry, what I didn't go on to. um
I haven't seen that one for quite a long time, so I can't quite remember it, but I do remember them sitting at a kitchen table together, which
Yeah, so what I did forget were the black swans. So we're going through our list. We've got the sanguines, and then we've got the black swans. Okay, so the black swans within the vampire community are the friends, lovers, and supporters of those who understand the vampire culture but don't identify as a vampire. Okay, so they often function as consenting blood donors for some of them. Okay, so there is that kind of stuff. So the sanguine side of stuff, they come out and they say, yes, we have blood donors, but these blood donors are constantly tested. I only have my regular blood donor, and it's small amounts and this kind of stuff. So it's not like they're going and slitting a wrist or a throat and drinking a whole cup of it, because your body, as people know, your body does not. You can't drink blood and stuff like that. The first thing you do, you're just going to throw it up. But if you look at these people and anything, if you have it in small doses, you probably build up that tolerance for it. So, but yeah, so there are these ones. This was invented at the Long Black Veil in 1997. So that used to be like a famous club there. I'm not sure if it's still going. So this kind of calling them the Black Swan. So these are the supporters and the boyfriends, the girlfriends, the husbands, the wives, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it was kind
Nice,
of
isn't it? I like.
yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. So they support them and whatever they do, but yeah, so and being consenting blood donors.
And you can suck my blood. I actually can't be a blood donor because I'm too little. I'm underneath the weight category, so sorry. I
And
can.
I was born in England where there was mad cow disease, and I still can't give blood. Because apparently I might give people mad cow disease. So there we go.
That's excellent.
I'm like, all right, sweet.
Oh God, I'm anemic and you've got mad cow. That's nice. We've got a comment here. Kirby's 100 says my favorite vampire movie is John Carpenter Vampires. In this
Ah,
movie, the vampires are not romantic. They smell bad and they have really bad breath.
so that's where it came from. Good to know.
It's so good.
Look, I mean, how many? I mean, there are just too many movies out there. I love like Van Helsing. Like there's just so many kind of stories and stuff out there. And then the old oh my God, I can see his face where he did the funny Count Dracula and he's like, I've come to suck your blood. So yeah, so there are so many vampire movies out there, and it's just yeah, but definitely like Underworld. I did actually watch all
Mm.
five movies of Underworld like a few months back. I actually kind of was like, oh, I need to rewatch all of these because another one came out and I didn't even realize a new one had come out. So I sat there and watched it.
You gotta, I honestly like these movies are freaking iconic, right? Like they're just part and parcel of what we've grown up
Yeah.
with as far as like vampire movies go. Like, and I love it. I always I used to sleep with my arms crossed over my chest like a right weirdo because I thought I was a vampire. And I quite liked hanging upside down for quite a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, because like, who have we got? We got Bram Stoker's um Dracula. I mean, can't forget the Lost Boys. Holy moly. Like
yeah,
they became like the first kind of real like hot vampires that people were like really
for real, real.
Interview with a Vampire.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Just wanna go through
There's
these.
so many. So I've got some cool little nostalgia for you.
Nostalgia.
Oh, let's go and get some nostalgia
Oh,
in it.
Queen of the Damned. That's what I was thinking of the
Oh,
other.
yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
Lost Boys.
There you go, yeah.
Oh, Keith
Lost Boy.
Sutherland. Can't remember any of the others, but I remember Keith Sutherland.
Yeah, these are the Lost Boys. But two Corys were in this movie as well.
That's right. Yep.
And that kind of set them off into stardom as far as like being, like teens and then kind of moving along that kind of Hollywood pathway.
Yeah.
One of our members, Susie, messaged last night saying Lost Boys, she watched it something like 7 times in the movie theater.
Yeah. Oh God, it was just such an awesome movie. I mean, because it was one of those real first movies that kind of came out and just kind of, yeah, just did this whole crazy kind of vampires, sexy vampires, and
Oh,
oh my
shoot.
God, look at Keith Sutherland, like damn.
Yeah, it's literally like the first sexy vampire kind of boys movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this really skyrocketed Kiefer Sutherland into like stardom, and then he went into like 24 and that TV series and that sort of stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah.
skyrocketed him into so many different things.
So many.
I looked into The Lost Boys because Lost Boys is one of my all-time favorite movies, 100% as far as vampire movies go, but also just favorite movie. I used to have a giant poster of the Lost Boys.
Who did not have that poster up and of Keitha and all the boys and them all hanging upside down? I still love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it
God,
was
that was like
so
one of my
good.
favorite scenes.
And so I looked into like weird occurrences and paranormal occurrences and stuff like that because I was like, there's got to be something. If you're filming something like this, there's got to be something else going on in the background or, whatever. And there was nothing really, really crazy town that came up. Remember when we covered the Mummy series? Um, and there was so many strange occurrences that
Appearances, yeah.
happened on the filming of that. And I guess that was probably more to do with the location that they were at, because they were filming in real temple spaces, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and on the
Yeah.
land here, whereas these guys were filming on set and in houses. And so I kind of went, okay, there's nothing crazy town as far as like the Lost Boys go. And so then I thought, let's look into, hang on, I've got a better one. Let's look into this. And Juliet, you're going to know
What
this. We
we do
spoke
in the
about these guys.
shadows.
What we do in the shadows. So this is a terrible photo of the
Sometimes they just don't come up, do they?
no, sorry, this is terrible. But basically, what we do in the shadows is a comic skit, if you will, of vampires, right? Here you go. Here's a better one. So the
Love.
storyline on this is basically there's this whole house full of vampires. There's the guy in the middle with the spiky ears and the bald head who basically lives down in the basement. And he's one of the old school vampires. He's one of the originals, and that's why he looks that way. And then you've got the newer guys kind of as you go up the stairs and that sort of stuff, and the more modern vampires that are dressed more appropriately. You've then got this white guy standing on the side here. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but essentially he stumbles in on this house. He thinks there's a house party here or something like that. He stumbles in on this house and realizes that they're all friggin' vampires, right? And they, chase him. And then one of the vampires stands up and goes, "No, I really like him, and he's our friend." And essentially, he becomes a friend to the vampires and starts up this group of blood donors so that the vampires no longer have to go out and eat random people and cause chaos and all this sort of stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. But it leads me on to what we do in the shadows was directed by Taika Waititi, and we know Taika Waititi from all of the action.
Movies and yeah, all sorts.
Yeah.
Married to the singer. Oh my God, I've just lost her name. Married to
Oh, me too.
who's he married to? Oh, that's right. I'll find that.
Use your brain. Go and Google search it. But yeah, so Taika Waititi has filmed so many cool things. He filmed a really, really funny show about
Rita Ora. He's married to Rita Ora. How
oh,
can I
Rita
forget her?
Ora. Oh my
So
God, our
gorgeous.
brains. We've been talking for too long now. Um,
Oh,
Jojo Rabbit. So he filmed Jojo Rabbit. And if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, that is a great movie. That is screwed up so great and it's fantastic. And obviously he's also filmed all of the new action movies, the
he does Thor and all of those.
what-
He's
yeah,
produced
that's the
Thor
one.
and written,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
all that.
And
So many. He's just got so many accolades. I mean, he's so talented.
yeah,
Um,
100%. And he
yeah.
also filmed Eagle versus Shark. Have you
Yes.
seen that? It's quite good. Anyway, and then the other guy that was doing it was Jermaine Clement, who is part of Flight of the Conchords, and he
Yeah.
also voiced like Moana and that sort of stuff as well. And he's won so many awards. It's crazy town. Oh, sorry, I'm still sharing. I beg your pardon. And so I love the story of this movie because we were in Courtney Place, like we were talking about at the start. We were in Courtney Place doing this premiere for the Lord of the Rings Empire at the Empire Theatre, right? And the house that I was living in, not necessarily during that time, I can't remember if it was directly during the Lord of the Rings premiere or if it was after that. It might have been after that. I lived in a house in Mount Vic, which is literally just behind the Embassy Theatre. And it turns out it was one of the houses that they filmed for this movie, right? What We Do in the Shadows. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I've got to look into this and see if there was any really weird paranormal occurrences or anything strange going on during that time. Because I know when I lived in that house, it had two separate lounges. It was about 8 bedroom house. It was
Yeah.
over 100 years old, massive old mansion, historical, chandeliers everywhere, pretty crazy space. And man, the amount of paranormal stuff that happened in that house was crazy, man. And I don't know if anyone else experienced it, but I got the brunt of it. Not really bad kind of evil stuff or anything like that, but definitely like poltergeist activity. Things were going missing all the time. Um, Doors were shutting by themselves. And given it's an old house and
Yeah.
we're in Wellington, it's windy, but at the same time, you know, when a door doesn't shut by itself and then it shuts by itself.
Yeah.
There was like dark kind of shadows in all of the closets. There was stuff would get broken. That was one of the things. I was just thinking about it, going, God, that was a long time ago. Things would get broken all the time. Glasses, cups. We fucking never had any plates because every single plate was broken. They would just fly off the bench or whatever, and that was one of the things that I was always like, God, I hate this house because stuff just keeps getting broken all the
Yeah.
time. We're forever buying like dish sets and like and plates and stuff. And so when I started Google searching whether or not there was paranormal occurrences, one of the funniest things that came up, there wasn't actually any like kind of really specifics. I think if we actually went and spoke to those guys or the cast and crew, that would probably come out very clearly. But one of the funniest things that came out was when they were on set in one of these houses and they filmed in about 5 or 6 different houses, they didn't tell, or maybe they forgot to tell, or maybe the next door neighbors simply didn't read the notice in their letterbox that they were filming in the next door neighbor's house. And so the police are getting phone calls and like all this stuff's happening, going, oh my God, there's vampires next door. Like my next door neighbors have turned into vampires because they didn't know they were filming next door.
Yeah.
All they were getting was like little glimpses through the windows or whatever of these
Um,
crazy people dressed up as vampires. You'd shit yourself, right? Could you
yeah.
imagine that if you
Oh,
did?
we had to, like, when we're doing the film and television, when we're doing all the makeup and stuff for it. So we were doing scenes with, like, basically they've been fighting in swords, and so the huge gashes on people, and there was blood and fake blood and swords. We had to call the police and tell them this is what we're doing at the park because we don't want people turning up thinking that there's dead bodies and like blood and people walking around with swords. So you had to kind of, yeah, make them aware of what we were doing. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
It's
interesting.
pretty
But
crazy. So that was
a
fun.
few vampire movies and TV shows. True Blood, obviously. Suki.
And also Anna Paquin, right? So the lead,
Kiwi.
yeah, she's a Kiwi, and she's not just a Kiwi, she's from Wellington.
She's a
And
Wellington
Sarah,
girl.
who we spoke about earlier, went to school with her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were
So
friends.
we have True Blood, we have Queen of the Damned, and this
Oh,
is like the last movie that Aaliyah made, and then she flew home and well, she didn't quite make it home.
make it home.
So who can forget Buffy, Buffy and
Oh
Angel?
my
Oh
God,
my God,
yes!
you forget about,
Are they on?
Angel and Spike. Oh my God, I was like, everyone's like, yeah, Angel, Angel, but I was a Spike fan. I think it's just my personality. I love Spike. I just thought, and his girlfriend, who was his girlfriend? She was the crazy, real crazy girlfriend, and she basically liked to kill everybody. And yeah, she was awesome. I
That
loved
just
her.
does that resonate with you, Juliet?
From Dusk Till Dawn, The Hunger, Fright Night, Blade. Who can
Oh,
forget the original
what?
Blade and the whole, the big shower scene where they're all showering in blood and stuff, and and the people got upset and ran out of the theaters apparently. Who knew? Yeah, Dusk Till
Sitting there
Dawn,
enjoying it.
Hunger.
I just like the fact that he used swords. I was like, this is the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever. Whoosh,
Yeah. Yeah,
giant
yeah.
sword.
He was like that. Like he kind of took it up a notch from the Lost Boys and was like, I
Oh,
am kick ass. Shunk.
God, yes. And the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Blade was one of my favorite movies.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm just trying to think who else. I mean, there's
Oh, the
so
underworld, obviously.
many.
Interview with the
Yeah.
Vampire.
And yeah, we're talking about that with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and yeah, you
Mm.
gotta admit that was like one of my favorite roles for Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Like
look, and we don't rate Tom very highly. So the fact that he's
I
actually
got into trouble at a movie theater with that too. So but anyway, because I was laughing at a scene he was doing, and the lady in front of me, who was obviously a very, very big Tom Cruise fan, got very upset with me. It was The Last Samurai. I'm just saying, Tom Cruise in a samurai outfit. It's hilarious.
oh, that's never going to
It was a
work.
bit like Brad Pitt, oh my God, and Troy. Remember us at Troy, like dying, and Peter O'Toole
Okay.
turning. I think it was Peter O'Toole, and he walked out in a tie-dye like caftan dress, and I was on the floor. I couldn't stop laughing.
We were literally, we thought, so at the time that Troy came out, we were at drama school and one of our assignments was to go and watch Troy. And we are like, okay, we'll go and watch it. We'll look, apparently the cinematography is amazing and it's got all of these really, really great
Yeah,
actors. And we sat there wetting our pants,
howling.
laughing. My face was so sore because it was so overly ridiculously acted. Like the best part for me was when what's his face Brad Pitt stood off the end of the boat and simply
Like
looked.
camera in. Oh my God, Brad Pitt. Oh my God, back. You can tell we've been in film and television.
He just looked into the vastness that was the ocean, and we were like, "Oh my God, this is
Yeah.
over." It
Yeah.
was
Oh
great.
my
Yeah.
God. Talk about doomsday farts. My dog's just farted. Far out.
Disgusting to me.
Oh, it stinks. I've got a vampire in the house. Whew. Yeah, no, that Troy movie was pretty funny. Yeah, we were like honestly, yeah, we were crying. Like I think at one point Lisa was on the floor and the chairs in front because we were trying not to annoy people because we were laughing so much. And then when Peter O'Toole walked out with the the blue and white tie-dye dress thing on, like that, I was gone. I couldn't hold it any longer. I was just like,
Come
this
back.
is yeah.
There was no
No, I
coming back.
did love Eric Bana in that. Like he
Oh,
did an awesome fight. I loved Eric Bana. He's an Australian actor. Eric
we
Bana
love
is
him though.
just amazing.
Actor. Yeah, we
Yeah,
love
yeah.
him because
Yeah,
he.
yeah. He's in a new TV show here that's been based here in Australia. I can't remember the name of it, but I haven't seen it yet, but that should be good. But on who can forget Vampire Diaries and the originals?
The originals, thank
Oh,
you.
yes. Oh,
And
the Michaelsons, and now they're and of course I like the crazy one, as per usual, Klaus.
Klaus. What
But
about
with a Kiwi actor, the other brother was he's a Kiwi. Elijah, the guy that plays Elijah, he's a
yeah,
Kiwi as well. So
good Kiwi
yeah.
actor, that's for sure.
But
What
yeah,
about
Vamp
did you watch
Diaries.
did you ever watch Abraham Lincoln, the vampire killer? Vampire Slayer?
Possibly. I know the movie that thing. I can't remember it.
It's great. Literally walks around with a shotgun.
Oh, so it's one of those
It
B grade ones. And then there was the other one where it was
was
kind
not
of
B
like
grade. It was not B grade. It was a good movie.
the other one where it was like done in like the 1920s or something. So there were vampire slayers and these girls and they're all in these big dresses and stuff. Yeah. There's so many. Like I will watch all vampire movies, even Twilight. I will watch all werewolf movies, even Twilight. Yeah, anything with vampires and werewolves in it, I will watch. I just love them. Even
And
my B grade, my C grade, and my D grade movies, I will watch them all. I just think they're absolutely hilarious. You've got to.
then you've got like the cartoon versions, right? Hotel Transylvania.
Oh my God,
Blah 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 blah.
blah blah blah.
Blah 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 blah.
Our guys watched that, like Eli and Abby were obsessed with those movies and they would watch them all the time. So, yeah, we got to know those movies intimately. And Darkwing Duck.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh
So
my.
Darkwing Duck was the vampire duck. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah, so many.
Hey, I've got just a little bit that I wanted to share with you. It's kind of getting out of coming back from Disney and Hollywood.
Mm.
Um, I did like a little bit of searching on the South Pacific, like are there vampires in the South Pacific and kind of what that looks like? Because remember when we last year was it we went to Toowong Cemetery in Brisbane in
We had a
Australia.
vampire grave. Yeah.
There was a vampire grave there on Spook Hill. So this Toowong Cemetery is one of the oldest and biggest cemeteries in the whole of Australia. And given Australia is huge, it literally fits into America and America fits into Australia. That's how gigantic the landmass is, right?
Yeah.
So we went to Brisbane, and we went to Oz Comic Con and all this other stuff. And we thought, okay, we're going to do this um, cemetery investigation, right? And Juliet has some pretty crazy experiences. Who is behind you?
Eli. Hey, buddy.
Oh, wow, we're talking about scary stuff, Eli. Oh my gosh, your grandson's standing behind you, and I'm talking about vampires. This was not okay.
Um,
Oh, that scared the living bejeebers out of me.
yeah, I forgot to tell you, he was homesick today.
Oh
I
God,
saw
you gave me a little heart attack there.
Even I had to double think. I'm like, who's home with me?
All I saw was this little black kind of circle around your head. For anyone that's just listening to us, Juliet's grandson has literally just come in and
Stuck
stood
up behind me.
behind her like a giant shadow. And I'm like, oh,
Oh, we good. Oh, it even gave me like a little bit of like, oh my
anyway,
God, what is that?
so yeah, we were in the cemetery. Juliet had some pretty crazy experiences in there with like a pretty demonic evil entity.
Nasty little.
But we went up this place called Spook Hill, which is a really, really well-known place in the cemetery itself. And you can actually Google search Spook Hill and it will bring up Toowong Cemetery. And the story goes that not only is there like a black widow buried up there, which is obviously a woman who was a serial killer, but there was a vampiress buried up there. And so I thought, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go into this a little bit. Maybe there are vampires that have been buried in and around the South Pacific, right? There's a few like folk lore stories, entities that suck blood and suck
Yeah.
energy, right?
Yeah. I'll show you
Through like yeah, like Filipino folklore and that sort of stuff. And there's one in like Vanuatu that's quite similar. They're not seen as the European vampires, but very much do the same sort of thing where they drain
Yeah.
blood or they drain energy. Anyway, so I kind of went into this. So I'm just going to read you this real quick. This is the information that I kind of put together and came up with. And this kind of explains the vampire that we thought was buried on Spook Hill. Obviously, urban legends and stories
Yeah.
get adjusted to fit narratives and all that sort of stuff. So there are rumors of a vampire burial on Spook Hill in Toowong Cemetery. One tale talks about the 19th century female vampire supposedly buried there, with stories that her grave was opened and the body hadn't decayed. Basically, your classic undead legend. So this is kind of her story. It says the cemetery also has a spot known as Spook Hill, which is what we talked about. There are people that say cars roll uphill on their own there, which gives like a huge amount of like paranormal kind of
Field.
energy there, right? And when we went there, we were like, man, there is a whole heap of paranormal energy
It,
here.
it was a, it was
Yeah,
pretty
and it
powerful.
wasn't good, right? Like it was really kind of scary stuff. Oh my God, there's a ghost out my corner of my window right now. Go away. This is my husband coming back trying to pretend to be a ghost out my window. Sorry, we are going off topic left, right, and center here. So on top of that hill, there was a woman named Tracy Wigginton who was known as the lesbian vampire killer, and she's buried up there. She's not the same vampire that is told in the stories of the 19th century female vampire, where she was dug up and she had not decomposed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. Who is this chick, Tracy, the lesbian vampire killer? Do you want to guess what the story's about before I tell you?
No. Because that will get us banned.
Okie dokie. So she was dubbed the lesbian vampire killer. She was involved in a pretty notorious murder case in Brisbane back in 1989. She, along with a few accomplices, i.e., other women, including the girlfriend of the man, lured this guy called Edward, poor Edward. They lured him to a park under the pretenses that they were going to give him a ride home, right? Him and his girlfriend.
We're going to say something else. Can I give him a ride of a different kind?
Oh, dude, like seriously, this is literally like the start of the story. And I was like, they're lesbian vampire killers. Something dodgy's going on in a park in the dark with Edward, right? Edward's getting himself into a situation he can't control. But no, it turns out that they were going to give him and his girlfriend a ride home, but his girlfriend was in on it the whole time.
Ooh.
The crime was particularly gruesome to the point where basically this woman Tracy ended up using a knife numerous times.
Be careful what you say.
And
made a mess.
She essentially did this so that she could drink his blood because she believed she was a vampire.
Wow.
And she was one of those vampires that you were talking about that drink
sanguines. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was kind of like, okay, well, what were the other women doing? Like, what were they a part of? Apparently, they were just there to support. So maybe they were the black swans, if you will, of that story. And Tracy was definitely.
Oh, they were all just very psychotic and like.
Yeah. But she ended up drinking his blood, which is pretty mental. Vampiric obsession. Yeah, all of the above. So anyway, she is buried there. She is not obviously the older vampire story, but we do know that those stories, and look, you know, Australia's been around for years, and that cemetery itself has been around. I think it's been there for longer than 200 years. I think it was closer to maybe the 250 because it's got a whole heap of Aboriginal there as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
Well, I will give you one more little vampire creature, but we'll go for a little creature here in Australia. It's called the Yarramayahu.
I love that.
Yarramayahu. So he's a legendary vampiric monster that is found here, mainly in southeastern Australia in Aboriginal mythology. So according to legend, so I will show you a picture of him in a minute, he resembles a little red frog-like man with a very big head, a large mouth with no teeth, and suckers on his hands and feet. So it's said that he lives in fig trees, and instead of hunting for food, he waits in the fig trees for these unsuspecting travelers to basically come along and go, oh, it's so hot in the Australian sun, I'm going to lay down and rest here. And then basically the creature falls down on top of them, uses his little suckers to drain all the blood from them, and then he swallows that person whole. Then he goes and has a drink of water. There's a whole ritual here. Goes and has a drink of water and takes a nap. He then awakens and then regurgitates the victim. Yeah, I know, it gets really good. Leaving them shorter than before. So now they've shrunk a little bit, okay? And their victim's skin has also got like this reddish tint to them. So this process is repeated until the victim becomes a Yarramayahu themselves. And here is our little Yarramayahu.
Oh, look how cute he is.
He is. Yeah, not so cute for the people though. So yeah, so he basically just sucks them up, spits them out, sucks them up until they get short and red and look like him, and then they become a Yarramayahu.
Total bloodsucker.
A little bloodsucker. Look at him.
He really likes fig trees as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in the fig trees. Yeah, he's in the fig trees here in Australia. So if you go under the gum trees, you'll get taken out by a drop bear. If you go under a fig tree, you'll get a yarama yahoo. And if you go in any other tree, you'll have fairy caterpillars drop on you, and you feel like your skin is on fire with lava. Or if you lay down and fall asleep, the ants will get you that are this big. Come to Australia. Can't just don't sit under the trees.
That's so funny. You know, we were watching the other night, we were watching like a show with two what do you call them, like survivalists or whatever, and they're dumped in the middle of nowhere, but they're survivalists and they can survive and they've just got to get from point A to point B or whatever.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy's walking around with no shoes on, right? He's the guy that has no shoes, and the other guy's a military guy, right? And he's walking around with no shoes on. And I was like, well, you're not in Australia. And then I was like, where are you? Oh, he's in New Zealand. Of course he's
Oh,
got
no wonder you got no shoes on.
I was like, if he was in Australia, those ants are going to kill your feet, man. Like, that is not
Oh
okay.
my God. Like honestly, we found an ant. I was like doing some gardening and I found a dead ant in the dog's water bowl and it was over an inch and a half long. Like I'm just like, I've never seen an ant that big. I'm like looking at this thing going, what the feck are you? Like, I mean, I've seen them like a good inch long where you've got them. I mean, we used to go to the parks. This is such an Australian thing. We used to go to the parks and because like you've got all the ant nests and they all go underground. And so the ground's, there's no kind of like big, it's not like a big termite hill. It's just a hole in the ground. And there's like heaps of ants and stuff around. And we used to basically run up and you can jump on them and run away and laugh and watch all these thousands of ants come out like big buggers, man. If they could get you, you'd be in so much pain. They hurt. Like honestly, I got bitten by a God, what was it? I can't remember. Like this big flying ant thing, man. And I yelled. It hurt. Like it was
Yeah.
on. I was on the washing. I picked the washing up, and it just basically turned around and just like chomped my arm. It was so painful. I'm yelling. I was like, oh, I didn't know if it was a cross between a really bad bee sting, or I didn't know because I didn't see it to start with. But like Katie and the kids saw like when I was flinging, like we're flinging all the washing because I didn't know if I'd been stung by a bee, or a wasp, which I'm allergic to, or if it was a redback because we have redback spiders around. So I was panicking, going, "Oh my God!" Like the pain was like intensive, and it wasn't until we kind of flicked these towels around, this giant ant flipped out. Then I was kind of relieved, going, "Yay, it's just an ant." But then my hand was, and my arm was still throbbing. It was so painful. It's like, yeah, don't do that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Like,
No,
and
they're
this is
just
why,
like
this is one of the
bull
reasons.
ant. Sorry, that's what it was. It was a bull ant.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the reasons I no longer live in Australia. Is because I was just attacked by spiders all the time, and I just kind of went, nah, I'm good
Oh
actually.
yeah, Dougie, my pet spider's gone. I'm a bit sad about that. I had Dougie, my pet spider.
Where's
So
he
he was
gone
a big black
to?
spider. He was up in the kitchen. And I said to nobody was allowed to get rid of him. Nobody sprayed him. He just did his own thing. He was up there at night and it's like, fine, you can eat the cockroaches that come in. Yeah, Australia is so bad for cockroaches down this end of the country. But then Dougie decided to come down and join Katie in the kitchen. She didn't appreciate it.
You didn't like Dougie.
Like Dougie running around. So I evicted Dougie and put him outside. I didn't kill him, I put him outside. I got
Dougie,
quite
he was
attached
just
to
trying to
Dougie.
help her cook the pasta. Accept the help,
He
man.
literally dropped down. Slap.
Oh my God. I have issues with spiders, and there's folklore stories of giant spiders in like around the South Pacific, and I'm like, that is not a god. A giant spider will never be seen as a god and
Yep.
or a good thing. It's just not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Well, we've got a red back in the bathroom, but it's only a baby one, so he's getting bigger, but we'll be gone by then, so it doesn't matter. So he's just up on the ceiling.
Are
We're
you
just watching him
literally
like,
just
oh yeah, he's stay up there.
you're
He's just
literally going to leave him for the next people to move in, and they'll be like, oh look, it's
it's a red back.
um
It depends on where they're
oh,
from.
that's
It's
I have one more folklore story that's kind
oh,
of,
tell us.
and I don't know if you've heard of this guy before. I've never heard of him because we haven't really delved deep into like Filipino folklore and Indonesian folklore, but it's totally on our
Mm.
list of things to do.
They've got some creepy stuff over there.
Oh my God, yes.
Like
Okay, so
Japan. Oh my God.
I've got my example is the aswang, which is from the Philippines, Aswang, aswang, which is in the southeast, which is just below Southeast Asia. If you don't know where the Philippines is, you're looking kind of Indonesia, below Southeast Asia, in that sort of area. Um, and essentially, this guy is like, he's super fascinating in Filipino folklore. He's weird because he's a shapeshifter as well, right? So it's a shape-shifting creature. It's also known as sort of like a vampire-like being. Sometimes it appears as a beautiful woman by day and then transforms into something more monstrous at nighttime. Because they always do, right? They're never just beautiful at nighttime as well, are they?
Have you got a picture of him?
I don't, but I'll find one for you in a
Right,
second.
I'm looking at
Google search
pictures
him,
now.
Aswang, as well.
Yeah, found
It's said to prey on humans, obviously, sometimes drinking blood or even going after the life force of the vulnerable. And obviously, they have to go for the vulnerable because they're easy prey, right? And they're driven by fear, and fear is a very, very strong emotion.
yeah.
There are also tales of it having a long proboscis-like tongue that it uses to feed. It's oh, gross. It's one of those legendary beings that really blurs the line between, like, vampire, witch, and a shapeshifter. And it's definitely like one of the best examples of a vampire type of creature or entity from Filipino folklore.
All right,
Have you
yeah.
found a picture
Yeah,
of it?
I've got a good picture. Sorry. I was
Oh,
just
cool. Yeah, she is screening it. Oh my
yeah.
God. For anyone just listening to this, basically, it's this beautiful woman who's got long flowing hair, who's turned into this vampiric kind of monstrous face with sharp teeth and this long,
Very, very long tail, like over
oh,
tongue, like over a foot long.
super long tongue and really sharp claws, obviously, because that's what happens. So,
Mm.
yeah, look her up, the Aswang. Ah!
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how you say it. If I'm butchering
Awesome.
those Filipino words, please, I apologize. But yeah, she's pretty cool. So I'd love to do a little bit more into like Filipino
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
folklore around Indonesia, that sort of stuff, because there's some creepy, creepy little things like that cave one. Remember the kids in the cave and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. And
There's some really, really dark ones. So that might be, there are some stuff there that we'll probably have to put on Dungeon Talk because that's pretty dark. But yeah, because we'll
And
just
a
get
lot of that down to like either blood sucking or energy sucking. Like there's a lot of that
yeah.
sort of spiritual energy taking. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
kind of filters into that kind of vampire, that non-consensual vampire steal space.
You in
I,
trouble, girl.
I steal the loosh from you.
All
Oh,
right. Well, we're coming to the end of it, but like Lisa, if you had the opportunity to become a vampire, would you?
wait, are we talking about the energy vampires or are we talking about the blood-sucking vampires? Be more
Well, you
specific.
can choose. If you were to become immortal and a vampire and you had to drink blood.
Yeah, I'd fucking do it. Because do you know why? The other day, I watched a movie called The Old Guard.
Oh,
Have
yeah,
you
that's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And so I was like, oh, I totally want to be those guys because imagine the cool relics that I'd have by the time I was here. And so it just feeds into my relic hunting Lara Croft.
Traveling, yeah,
Yeah,
just there'll be
100%.
unlimited
I'm
travel.
not keen on the whole can't go out in the daytime. That's an issue that I don't want to have
Well,
to
that's where we get a special ring so we can go out and see.
deal. I love the idea of like kind of, bursting into thousands of bats and flying away. That's pretty And I already have quite long canines, so I do have a little bit of vampirous thing going on, if you will. So yeah, I'll do it.
You
What
do
do
it.
you reckon?
Oh yeah, I'd actually do it just for the pure fact is that I'd be able to go travel. Like, see you guys. Won't get the flu, won't get a cold anymore. Like, sweet.
simple. It's so simple. I don't want to get the flu and I want to travel. I want
Done.
let me sell my soul straight there.
Yeah, it'll be all done. It'll be over.
I
So
don't know. I guess there is an issue with the fact that you don't die.
yeah, and then
You watch
like you watch your kids, your family, and all that, and and that's the big part of it, isn't it? So could we turn them?
everyone around you leave, right?
You'll be like, can we turn our children? But then you're like, God, they're so annoying.
Yeah. Imagine keeping them for like the entirety of your life, like which is long because you're immortal. Oh God.
Like,
Um,
okay, we'd be really selective about who would keep him. Like, yeah, oh no, oh yeah, no.
you're getting tick box. Yeah.
An essay of if you want to be immortal.
Yeah, if you can write a 1,000-word essay on why we should keep you, that would be great. We'll go through it and
That's to go down that line. No, 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 no.
your English is appalling. We don't deal very well with bad punctuation and terrible grammar. So.
You've got bad breath. There you go.
You're
bad breath. No, thank you.
You don't drink wine.
Doomsday farts.
Not a wine drinker? Mm-mm.
Yeah, no red wine. See, I love red wine. It'd be perfect.
I think so. I feel
Everyone
like you
sees
have a
me with a red wine anyway. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'll just need my little goblet.
Yeah, yeah. Juliet's probably a vampire in her former life. If we went back into like past life regression.
Yeah, probably.
Like we joke about her being from Lemuria, but I actually think she's from Jerusalem. It makes way more sense.
She likes blood, or maybe a werewolf because she likes raw meat.
Oh, loves to have meat in her mouth. On that note, we are leaving. And oh my God, seriously, next week we are talking about the Nephilim connection to giants in the South Pacific. Now, Nephilim is a huge catchphrase at the moment, real kind of everywhere. And Nephilim's obviously like the biblical connection to that, but essentially they're talking about giants, right? Giant humans. And we did an episode on giants in the South Pacific probably like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
A while back, yeah.
And we just found so much information. We only kind of scraped a little bit on the top of that. And so, yeah, next week we're going to kind of really jump deep into that, bring out some really cool stories, some historical accounts, just do some really cool connecting as far as other people's research goes as well, because there's bucket loads of research that really amazing Americans have done on the migration of these giant humans and that sort of stuff. Because my question is always, how the hell did they get down here? How did they get down here?
Yeah.
And so, especially if you're talking Nephilim, who essentially are, Judea, kind of Nazarene sort of space, Israel, around Palestine, that sort of space.
Angels, you name it. Alien. I mean, look at the stuff that's coming out. There are people turning around and saying that these Nephilim are aliens. There is like there are so many different angles to this. So we're just going to we're going to touch on just another part of it. I mean, like the whole giant thing could go down. I mean, we talked about the a lot of military stuff, the giants in Afghanistan, and and all that kind of stuff, and reports coming back. So now we're going to kind of go down like a different track of it, and Lisa's kind of like more on the biblical side. I'm just kind of look at these other bits and pieces, and I'll surprise her and bring it too. But
really interesting. We never really know where we're going to go because we bring research from different angles, and we don't tell each other before we get there. So it's always really quite mind-blowing to each of us to learn it, because we're learning in real time as you're learning as well, which is really that's why I love today's discussion, because I didn't realize you were going to bring this whole like it's just a community vibe kind of deal.
Vibe, yeah. That's it. It's not a, and this is it. There's people have preconceived ideas of what they think things are. It happens very much in the religious world without going into that. They think certain religions are all kind of piled into the box of one thing, because of who they are, and it is so not that. And, we don't like talking about religion and, unless it's to do with cryptids and all that kind of stuff, or politics. We don't do that on here, but, there is a very big disconnect, and it's very sad to see. But, it's the same as this. It's like, there's just different stuff coming out, and everyone has different views, and that's where Lisa and I just play off of each other and just kind of be like, hey, what about this? And so have a think about those aliens, Letha and Nephilim, because that's where I'm gonna come from.
Gonna be
I'm
tough.
just going to give it a little bit of a clue, but yeah, no, I'm still not entirely sure what angle I'm coming at it. But we shall see. I've got a few ideas there, but
I like to just let it take us where we're meant to go.
yeah, we just find some bits and pieces. Yeah, but yeah, definitely the vampire community. Go check out some of their like Instagram accounts and the balls and like the dresses and the costumes, and oh my God, because you're also talking about the books that they read and the romance writers that write all these books about sexy vampires. It's just a big old community, as we know. So.
Oh, I love it. It's so cool. Okay, hey, Juliet, are you a member of Cryptid Women's Society yet?
Oh, yes, I am.
You're a truth seeker. Me too. If you want to become a truth seeker, all you have to do is pop over to cryptidwomensociety.com.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I'm so
I'm
tired.
just showing you my t-shirt. Cryptidwomensociety.com. Pop on over there. You can get yourself a Truth Seeker membership right now. You can join the conversation, but more importantly, you can get into that back end kind of portal, members portal, and talk to amazing women that are there, super knowledgeable women. Cryptozoology, ufology, paranormal investigation, demonology, all of the above, the occult, paganism, all of everything goes on in there, including cryptids. We have Bigfoot hunters. We have all sorts of women doing.
We've got our own area for research and evidence, and yeah, there is a lot. We've got courses coming up. There is so much. And honestly, the ladies, we've got some top ladies in there that are very open to talking to you. If you want to know more, if you don't want to join yet, they're very vocal about their being part of Cryptid Women's Society. Just DM them and just go, hey, how is this? They will tell you, all about Cryptid Women's Society, just to give you an idea. But
Absolutely.
definitely come join us. We have so much fun.
Yeah. And should I tell everyone?
I don't know. What are you telling them? Uh-oh. Oh God, what is she releasing?
No, I'm not going to tell it. I'm not going to tell. We were talking about what expeditions we're going to do in the future. We've booked.
Oh no, let's tell them. 2026.
Really?
2026, November 2026. We are going. Where are we going, Lisa?
We are going to Egypt.
So we already have ladies joining us. So it is a Cryptid Woman Society trip. We are going over there. We are going to go through the temples. We are just going to have a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, and it's not going to be your normal tour, right? You can go and get yourself onto one of those normal tours and do the basics.
Yeah.
We take the perspective, our little rose-colored glasses on for the weird and the abnormal and the stuff that shouldn't be there, right?
Yeah.
Juliet went there last year. She's already got a grounding on what we need to go and have a look at, plus a whole heap of other things that she's found out. You're talking hieroglyphs that look like helicopters and submarines,
dinosaurs, yeah, energy rooms.
I can't wait to go and see that. I'm so excited about that. And we have got contacts. We've got contacts with the keys. Have you thought about doing a paranormal investigation in an ancient Egyptian tomb?
Where there have been ghost pharaohs that have been seen.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited. I can't believe it. We're only going to take a select number of members with us. You must be a member of Cryptid Women's Society, and then you may very well get that invite, or you can message us and say, how the hell do I get on this trip with you girls? this is what you do. It's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be
It's definitely a limited number, so we can get around, and yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
it's going to be the coolest thing ever. Okay.
Oh my God, I've gone really pale. It's the lighting.
Oof,
It's flickering.
Anyway,
We're probably about to lose our power. Great.
boys and girls, we love you all. Thank you for walking in the shadows with us today. We will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And thanks for joining us. If you've got any questions, chuck them in the comments or send us a message or jump onto cryptidwomensociety.com. We love
And
you.
let us know if you would choose to be a vampire.
Bottle. I just want to be a Highlander, let's be honest. All right.
That too.
100%. We love you all. We're saying goodbye.
Bye, everyone. We should be playing some music. Yeah, no. Thank you, everyone. We gotta wait for a little bit longer. Otherwise, we cut people off, and we're really sorry about that.
I'll just wait for the YouTube to catch up. Okay. Peace. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
Show us your vampire teeth real quick, Jules. Hang on a second, everyone. Hold on. Oh my God, they're still talking on YouTube.
We're still talking. Oh my God, that's so
sorry,
long.
everyone. So sorry to the last person that's hanging out with us, talking shit with us. We're just waiting for YouTube to catch up. It's soon.
Oh, it's good. I can put my glasses on. Look, I'll look intelligent. Look, I'll look intelligent now. I mean, I'm an intelligent vampire. Oh, those really need to clean so bad.
This is literally the majority of what we talk about all day. Like,
then we can be like, woo, playing my little croaky.
Okay, we're gonna stop now. Ah, you guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out with us.